wherever you may be. It's Rowan J. Parker here with another of my occasional tech review videos, and today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing this, which is the brand new Samsung BD-F6500 Blu Ray player. We're going to find out what's in the box, and we're going to put the unit through its paces and find out exactly what it can do. So it should be a lot of fun, so let's get right to it, let's rock! Now before we go ahead and open the box, let's look at some of the features that Samsung is touting on this BD-F6500 Blu Ray player. Now this is part of Samsung's new 2013 range, and this is a mid-range player, but very typically for Samsung they have crammed in a huge number of features. So let's just have a look at some of the standout features. Of course, it's 3D Blu Ray. You have access to Samsung's Smart TV, Smart Hub platform, which is probably the best specified of all the TV and Blu-ray providers in terms of the number of apps you get access to, because we have on board Netflix and LoveFilm, BBC iPlayer, ITV Player, YouTube, etc. It's a well specified internet portal. Of course, the apps you get are going to depend upon where you live in the world, what your region is, but in the UK we've got all the catch-up services pretty much there, so that's good. Also, furthermore, is built-in wireless, so that we don't have to connect a LAN cable, although that's the way I will be doing it. But you don't have to do that, it's wireless. It also supports their All-Share software, because it is a DLNA certified piece of equipment, so you can stream your media from a media box, a NAS or a PC, which is primarily what I'll be using this for. And also, it is dual core. Now I've got one of the Samsung players from last year, the E6100, and it's a pretty good machine, but it is noticeably a bit clunky, especially when it starts up. It can be a bit slow, which is a bit annoying. So we're trying to see whether this one with the dual core processor is in fact a lot better or not. Okay, well, that's a brief overview of the player. Let's get to the actual unboxing. Okay, here we go, and we have the kitchen knife of oblivion making a return from my plasma unboxing video. Let's just start unboxing this bad boy. Okie dokie, fairly sort of typical packaging. First up, what we got, the remote. Yes, got a couple of these already. Very typical Samsung design. Something 2012 we introduced this design, and they carried it over into 2013. And more on that later. And then the ubiquitous instructions and battery for the remote control. We'll look at that in a bit. And then the actual deck itself. I think power cable will be integrated here. Yeah, so the whole thing just lifts out. Alright. Okay, take the cardboard packaging off the front and the sides. And just lift the dust cover off the bottom. Yeah, there we go. And there she is. Alright, well, got it out of the box. Let's have a good look at the design of the unit next. Okay, well, I've removed the plastic wrapping from the fascia and from the top so we can have a better look at the deck. It's quite an elegant and striking design. The most notable thing about it is this curved edge here, which is distinctive of all Samsung's 2013 Blu-ray decks, apart from the very high-end one, which has got some sort of aluminium covering, which looks very attractive, but certainly isn't worth the extra money, I don't think. Touch-sensitive controls on top, should be quite neat. Otherwise, pretty minimal. You've got the disc drawer here, and you've got a flap that covers the USB. Now let's just have a quick look around the back. Now in this deck, it's a very limited number of connections you've got. Basically it's an all digital deck, so we've got an HDMI out, and we've got the LAN in and an optical out, and basically that is it. So if you're looking for twin HDMI outs or 5.1 connectors or anything like that, forget it. They're not going to give you that. So they're sacrificing those sorts of options, but otherwise, in terms of what you're getting a massive amount for the cash. Alright, well, let's get this deck into place and get the thing fired up and we can actually have a look at what it actually looks like in operation. Let's do that. Okay, we have the deck connected and we're ready to do the setup. So we'll just take you through the setup very quickly, show you how it works. So on-screen language is English, of course, and aspect ratio 16:9, yes, and wireless, it's a wired network connected via LAN, so everything seems to be alright. And then we have to agree to terms and conditions. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Ah, of course. Now, very typically when you plug these new decks in, televisions, Blu Ray decks, there's a software update waiting for you as soon as you start the deck up. So, clearly needs an update. We'll update and I'll come back to you after that is complete. Here we go. Okay, I have updated the firmware on the player and I have also installed the apps on the unit. I'm just going to show you how fast the device boots up from a standing start. Here we go. If you remember back a few years, Blu Ray players used to take quite a long time to come on and to load discs as well, so well, it's not too bad. That's certainly under 10 seconds. And this is the home page that you're faced with when you switch the player on. We've got options of movies and TV shows. That's really premium on-demand content that I think you have to pay for. The apps, we'll come to that in a minute. And photos, videos and music, that's your own streaming stuff if you've got a NAS box or a server, media server like I do. Let's pop in a Blu Ray disc and just see how quickly the disc actually boots up, because it is a Blu Ray player. Principal function is to play Blu Rays. Let's see how quick it is to play back a Blu Ray disc. Here we go. Okay, this is The Hobbit, just the 2D version of The Hobbit, not the 3D version. And let's just see how long it takes to load up. Yeah, the player's not actually silent. You can hear the disc spinning. I don't know whether it's audible on the camera, but certainly I can hear it. It's not loud, but it is there. I wouldn't imagine once the film was actually playing it would be a problem though. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, and we're at the main menu. Now obviously, you're not going to get a sense of the picture quality through the camera, but it's very, very typical for 1080p Blu-ray. It's very sharp indeed. Very, very good. Okay, well that is fairly successful. Quick boot up time for the player. Alright, so I think you can see the dual core processor there really having quite a difference on things like boot up time and the responsiveness of the unit. It does seem fairly responsive, whereas as I say, the deck that I have from last year, the E6100, does at times feel like a bit of a dog sometimes. It works well enough, it's just quite sluggish, which is frustrating to use at points. Alright, well we looked at the disk boot up, looks good. Let's have a look at the app platform now, why not? Right, let's just go ahead and load up the apps portal and see what we shall see. Again, very fast to boot up generally. Now as you can see, we've got all the major catch-up services here. We've got ITV Player, BBC iPlayer, there's 4OD, 4 on demand. There's no Demand 5, that's Channel 5 in the UK yet, but it's probably going to be coming later on, so I'm not sweating about that too much. And for me, quite importantly, we've got Netflix and LoveFilm, which I subscribe to both of those services. So yeah, not bad at all. Let's fire up one of the apps and let's just see how quickly it responds, and let's just have a look at the streaming as well, okay? Quite an issue for some of you, I know. Right, here's the iPlayer, let's have a look. That is noticeably faster than last year's deck. I mean, a lot faster. Okie dokie. Looks good. Yep. And the navigation is fairly smooth as well. And let's just play a little bit of Doctor Who. And we'll attempt to stream it in HD, see how we get on. Okie dokie, let's see how it goes.
Something wrong? It's the repair shop. What kind of idiot would try and steal a faulty TARDIS?
Okie dokie, now I know you're getting quite a lot of reflection from the screen because there's a light source directly behind me, but I'll just tell you that the picture quality for that streaming is very, very good indeed. Obviously it's not Blu-ray quality, but absolutely more than acceptable even on a screen this large, which is a 63-inch screen. So I think we can see that the streaming services seem to work well. Now obviously this will depend on things like your internet provider and the amount of bandwidth you have and so on, but nevertheless I would say that was a win. Alright, let's just check out the Dex capabilities as a DLNA server. So if you have some sort of external storage attached, a NAS box, external hard drive, or attached to a PC, you can stream your files from the source. So what we have here is options of photos, videos, music, or all content. Let's go to videos, and then we see the internal options we have. We can play the Blu-ray disc, we see our media servers. Servo is the server we'll be looking at in a minute. USB device, you can plug in an external USB or hard drive. And that's a web storage as well. Okie dokie, well let's just look at the Servo server where I have the vast majority of my stuff. That's my media server. Okay, and these are the options you get. I'm just going to go into movies, that should show all our films. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And let's just show you one of these films streaming off my server. 300, why not? One of my favourite films.
Xerxes.
So I think you agree that that works fairly well as well. There's no particular problem there. Great, so my impressions of the deck would be, on first impressions, that it is considerably more slick and much quicker than the previous years, last year's Samsung Blu Ray decks. The interface does seem a lot better and it's just a lot more responsive. So let's just hope this is a sign of things to come, but this is looking very, very promising indeed. Alright, well, I think we get an idea of what the deck's all about. I'll just do some sort of wrap up now. Okay, so that's been my review of the Samsung BD-F6500. So what do I think of the deck overall? Well, I've got to say, it's the first time I've seen the deck and used it today that I'm quite pleasantly surprised and impressed with the deck. It is all I hoped it would be and more. It is noticeably far more quick and responsive than last year's E-Series Samsung decks. And this is due fairly much certainly to the dual-core processor. Everything seems to be quite zippy and responsive, and it has all the bells and whistles on it that you could hope for. 3D, it's got built-in wireless, got a great selection of apps, you've got access to it as a DLNA server. So for me, it does everything that I want it to do and more, and also the price for all this stuff is very good. In the UK, I got this for just over £100. Just a note on the build quality of the deck. Considering its price, the build quality is fine, but it is incredibly light and it does feel a bit plasticky. So if you're into premium looking and feeling AV gear, this certainly is not a contender. In fact, this Blu-ray deck replaces a Pioneer deck, which I got free with a receiver that I bought a couple of years ago, and the build quality in the Pioneer was absolutely phenomenal. It was like a tank. But it's, in terms of functionality, it's nowhere near as good as the Samsung Blu Ray Dex. So it is a matter that you get what you pay for, and you just paid over £100 for a Blu Ray player. It's not going to be wonderful in terms of build quality, but it certainly isn't bad, and you're getting all these extra features. So I think in terms of price performance ratio, it's pretty much unbeatable, which is very typical for Samsung. They just love shoving all those features at you, which if you're a technology junkie like me is very, very welcome. So would I recommend this deck? Absolutely. If you're in the market for a budget or mid-range Blu Ray deck, this is a great choice. So thank you very much for watching. That's been my review of the Samsung BD-F6500, and I'll see you again for another technology-filled review fest some other time. Alright, I've been Round J Parker, thank you very much, and farewell.